It is nice to set intentions January for the new calendar year, but it's also helpful to know that you are not lazy. There's nothing wrong with you. If you're feeling more called to rest, reflect, go inward at this time, your biology is actually doing exactly what it's meant to be doing at this time when we're in the middle of darkness, cold, winter season. Welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. In this show, we're getting real about navigating the ups and downs of life together. I'm your host, Erin, and we're ditching the pressure to have it all figured out along the way because honestly, nobody does. We'll explore all things healing, growing, creating, and connecting. And if you deal with anxiety, depression, being a highly sensitive person, or just feeling overwhelmed by life sometimes, I see you, and this show is for you. My intention with these conversations is simple: to leave you feeling empowered, validated, and most importantly, reminded that you are never alone, no matter where you're at on your own journey. So join me in getting real about what it means to heal. Thank you for being here, and now let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin, or welcome back to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. I am so excited and happy and grateful to be here today talking to you guys. It feels like it's been a minute since I sat down and recorded an episode by myself, at least. My last 2 episodes were with guests, Landon and Grady, and I enjoyed those so much. I am so grateful to both of them. I love the conversations we had that I was blessed to get to share, and I look forward to having more guests on the podcast. As I've mentioned, I think before, that's one of my goals for the next year, I guess, of this podcast, is to continue having these conversations with different guests. And I've loved that, but it has felt like way too long since I sat down by myself to record. And this episode is coming out first week of January. I think New Year's Day, possibly, this is coming out. And I have not released an episode in the last 2 weeks because it's been holiday season. And we all know how overwhelming that time can be. Life has been lifing in general over the last while, which I feel like I've been saying on this podcast for the past 3 to 4 months, and it's just true. Life has been lifing, and I, on one hand, want to keep myself accountable to showing up on this podcast weekly. On the other hand, I want to practice what I preach, give myself grace and space to take breaks or record at a pace that feels aligned and genuine. And I never want to just fit in an episode if I'm not feeling like I'm in a space to provide anything. And honestly, today, for this week's episode, I was very close to skipping recording as well because, yeah, it's just been crazy, and I could very easily have convinced myself to just skip it again, but I knew that in the end, I would be feeling upset with myself if I let myself go 3 weeks. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking breaks. I need to practice what I preach, but at the same time, I think that can become a slippery slope if you're not being honest with yourself and asking, okay, do I really not have the capacity to do this thing that I've committed to? Or am I starting to, what's the word? Am I starting to, wow, my brain, it's late. I've never recorded a podcast this late. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm in my wearable blanket with my hood up that I was gifted in a gift exchange this year, and it's genuinely probably the greatest gift I've ever received. I love to be cozy. I'm always in a sweatsuit. Today I'm in my wearable blanket, and I don't know if this is ever really going to be coming off when I'm at home, but yeah, it's late. It's been the holiday overwhelm. So yeah, I'm not really sure what word I was trying to think of there. But what I'm trying to say is that we can find excuses to not do the things that we commit to or want to be dedicated to doing. We can self-sabotage. Oh my gosh. Whew. Wow. This could be an interesting episode. We can self-sabotage ourselves into falling through on the things that we actually do want to be doing. So while I have no regrets with taking 2 weeks off during the holidays from recording, I knew that if I'm honest with myself, I wanted to sit down today because what I want to talk about is what I've been experiencing, which is overwhelm during the holiday season, during this time where we are told that it's the most merry and happy and bright time of our lives, And if you ask yourself or you talk to people around you, at least my experience is a lot of the time, people don't really feel that way. I think that comes with age. I mean, in childhood, this is a very magical time typically. And that makes sense because you're a child. You aren't really yet experiencing or aware of the more complex emotions and experiences that can come with this time of year as life goes on. But yeah, I just wanted to have a little chat about Overwhelm during the holidays and send a little reminder to you that it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay if you've been feeling a mix of different emotions or if you haven't been feeling the most merry and bright and happy or full of energy wanting to socialize and connect with others or whatever it might be. You're not alone in however you're feeling. Pretty much everyone I've talked to since the first couple weeks before Christmas and now after has felt the same way. Some people are saying things like, oh, can't wait for this to be over. It's such a busy time. Some people, sometimes you are acknowledging, okay, this is a busy time. I'm exhausted. It's a lot. I'm overstimulated. But I am grateful for the time I'm getting to spend with friends and family. And some people are fully in the holiday spirit, and all the power to them. The people who are fully embracing it and feeling happy and just love this time of year and have all the energy to socialize. I respect you and I wish I could identify with you. But I fall somewhere in the middle where I feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and on top of that, it comes with a lot of complex emotions for me. And I recorded an episode on this at this time of year last year about the different complex emotions you can navigate during this holiday season. And so that is something that as life has went on, things have happened. I've lost people in my life. There are more complex emotions that come with this time of year, things like grief and sadness, but they can coexist with joy, gratitude, and happiness. That's my experience at least. But I think it's important to remind ourselves and have the conversation with other people who can relate to feeling these different complex emotions all at the same time, especially at this time of year where the messaging is shoved down our throat to be happy and grateful and joyous. It's okay to not be. It's very normal to not only experience those feelings and emotions, and most importantly, it's okay to set boundaries for yourself that allow you to show up through this season in a way that prioritizes your well being while allowing you to connect with people or show up to the things that you want to show up to. And figuring that out might take time. You might not figure out the boundaries that work best for you in your life in one year during one holiday season. It might be trial and error, and that's okay. But setting the intention to set boundaries for yourself is respectful to you and the people in your life that you care about, that want to connect with you during this time. And even noticing that you want to set boundaries is a sign of self-respect. It's a sign of respecting others, and it's something that you should be proud of. So, I mean, I don't have this figured out perfectly at this point in life. I have definitely made progress in how I'm able to set boundaries or have guidelines for myself for how I can support myself during this time so that it's not a full burnout or a full depression. But it's okay to say no. And it's also okay to say yes, but to still have your boundaries for how you're showing up to the things that you are saying yes to. This is something I continuously learn in life. It's not something that you perfect. I feel like it's a constant practice when we're talking about boundaries and showing up for ourselves and experimenting with what works best for us in our lives that we feel good about without cutting ourselves off from the rest of the world entirely, because that's not healthy either. We do need connection, and this is a beautiful time for connection. So these are just thoughts I've been having over this last while of experiencing all of these things. Another important reminder I've been having to come back to is that these feelings and this time will not last forever. You will get through the overwhelm. You will get through whatever it is that you've been feeling or experiencing. This is such a weird time. I don't know if weird is the right word, but it's just such a, well, especially this week between Christmas and New Year's, I saw, or I've been seeing online, it being referred to as the week of airport rules, where literally anything goes at any time. And while that can be enjoyable and empowering, it can also be confusing, and it can be easy to feel like you're in a rut or stuck in a rut. And just remember, this time is fleeting, it's going to pass, and we're going to be back to routine, day to day life before we really actually know it. But yeah, this is just such a strange time where everyone's experiencing conflicting feelings. And then, don't get me started, or I guess I'm gonna get started on the topic of New Year's. If you've heard, I have a past episode about why spring equinox, marks the true new year. This is backed by history and science and nature. If you look into it, I will link that episode in the description of this one because it goes deeper into like exactly the history of why our new year got changed to January 1st. But pretty much way back in the day, the Roman Empire, the elites of the world, decided that they wanted to shift all of humanity out of alignment with our natural rhythms because it's easier to control us if we're out of rhythm. So the Gregorian calendar that we follow now shifted us away from April 1st, used to be the mark of the new year, and they shifted us to January 1st, which, if you think about it, April Fools, the reason that April 1st, is called April Fools is because that was a way of trying to control people to stop acknowledging April 1st as New Year and start to obey the Gregorian calendar that we follow now. So the people that continued to follow April 1st as New Year's were called April Fools. Crazy. And when you think about it, it makes so much more sense. When I first learned about this, that the whole spring is the true mark of the new year, it makes so much sense. In what world is anyone right now, in the dead of winter, and especially following the overwhelming season of the holidays, in what world is anyone feeling called to have the energy to blossom and rebrand your life or set your resolutions, set your goals, and start fresh, start anew? Everything is in hibernation. We are in dark. We are in hibernation. We are meant to rest. We are literally animals, and that's what all the animals are doing at this time. That's what nature is doing at this time. In the springtime, hormones are ignited. Animals come out of hibernation. Darkness is fading. There is more light. Astrologically, Aries is the first astrological sign of the cycle, and that begins at the end of March, spring equinox. I could go on about this topic. Since learning about it, I could go on about this topic forever because I feel like I'm missing some key points to make here because, like I've mentioned, my brain is not fully online right now, but like I said, go listen to my episode about why spring is the true mark of the new year. I feel so passionately talking about this topic now that I've learned about it because once you learn it, I feel like you just can't go back. And the thing is, I'm not saying you shouldn't acknowledge the new year, like the new calendar year, of course. And I think it's helpful to set intentions for your year, your calendar year, and your intentions that you set now can kind of help you come into alignment and kind of plan for the action that you're going to take when springtime hits. When, I don't know, if you think about it for yourself, when I think about it for myself, when I can look back at every year, it's when like middle of March, spring equinox hits. That's when I feel like the most energized, motivated, and clear and dedicated, ready to take action on the things that I'm wanting to do, the goals that I'm wanting to set, and take action. So it is nice to set intentions January for the new calendar year. But it's also helpful to know that you are not lazy. There's nothing wrong with you. If you're feeling more called to rest, reflect, go inward at this time, your biology is actually doing exactly what it's meant to be doing at this time when we're in the middle of darkness, cold, winter season, where we're actually meant to rest and reflect and go inward. And yeah, you can be planning, but we're not meant to be taking action right now. So I think that's a message I really wanted to talk about right now, is just like to remind you and empower you to know that you are okay, that you are allowed to follow your body's natural rhythm. And our natural rhythm does not have us feeling energized and equipped to be taking action the way that the messaging of traditional New Year's tells us that we should be doing. And the statistic, which I share in that episode, is something like 89% of resolutions fail by February. And there's nothing wrong with anyone. Again, it's just like not at all physically, biologically, hormonally, energetically the time where we as humans, as animals, like all the other animals hibernating, I've said it a million times, it's just not the time. It's not the time for this. So I'm anti-resolution. Intentions, love an intention. Also, when you're setting intentions instead of a resolution or a goal, you're actually opening up the possibilities to be much wider and greater than you can even imagine, because a resolution or a goal is so like narrow-sighted. It focuses on one thing, whereas intention is focusing on what you want to be like. How do you want to feel? And then that encapsulates so much more. It encapsulates how you move through all of life. So the possibilities are endless as to what you can create or what can come from the intentions you set for how you want to feel and be, rather than setting an intention about what you want to do. So shifting from what do I want to do or what do I feel like I should do to how do I want to feel, how do I want to be, is a game changer, I promise you. So for example, let's say you're setting a resolution for the new year that I want to work out 5 times a week at the gym. Instead of that, which is likely to fail, not saying that you will for sure if that's your intention or if that's your goal or your resolution, but it's more likely than setting an intention of, I want to feel healthy and strong in my body. That opens you up to so much more possibility of how you can get to that outcome. And that can involve going to the gym. That can involve going for walks. It can involve eating the proper nutrition to support your healthy, strong body. It opens up so much more growth and change to occur in your life rather than the one goal of going to the gym 5 days a week, which also feels like so much pressure. And I'm not saying that goals are bad to set. It's good to have goals, but I think specifically, especially at this time, an intention can be so much more powerful to set for your year. At least for myself, I have found that. I've never stuck to a resolution in my life. And I did always feel like shameful and guilty about it. So learning about all of this was empowering, but especially learning about intentions. And you don't have to just set them for the new year. On the new moon is always a great time to set your intentions for the next month. Yeah, intentions just bring you back to your why. And again, it's about how you want to feel and how you want to be rather than what do you want to do. Because just focusing on what you want to do is much more likely to fail and lead you to feeling like a lack of self-trust or self-love even. And when we feel like something is strict and rigid and there's pressure to do it perfectly, which when you set a goal, it feels like you have to do it perfectly, it's just so much more likely as human beings. That's how our brains work. It's so much more likely to fall flat on them. And then again, that leads you back to a lack of self-love, self-trust, etc., etc. So yeah, I hope that all made sense. I'd be curious to hear how you feel about resolutions for the new year. And yeah, whenever I get the chance to talk about the history of the Gregorian calendar and springtime being the new year and April Fool's Day, I could yap about it forever. I just want to scream it from the rooftops, like, they're lying to us. We're being lied to. But I mean, we're being lied to about a lot. But that's a discussion for another day. To be honest with you guys, I really just wanted to get on here and do this little check-in, share the thoughts and feelings I've been having around this time. And also, as we are coming to the end of the 2025 year, by the time you hear this, we're in the beginning of 2026, I do want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to anyone who has listened, connected with me, supported me, and ebbs and flows this podcast or any of my retreats, workshops over this last year. I could not be more grateful. I can't believe this is my life. I'm so excited to see where this all takes me in the future, and genuinely nothing brings me more joy and fulfillment than when I'm connecting with anyone through these outlets. I can look back on so many years where I'm coming up to the new year and I feel like I'm stuck back in the same spot where I've been when I was really struggling with my mental health, when I was depressed, had generalized anxiety disorder, would never talk about how I was feeling. Honestly, I felt really lost and alone, even though I was surrounded by supportive, loving people in my life. But I just wasn't at a place in my own journey yet where I had done any healing to feel worthy of sharing my true self, my true voice, my true thoughts, feelings, experiences. And again, that's always the main why mission of Ebbs and Flows podcast. Anything that I create or I do is to connect and to help us all remember that we are never alone. We have so much more in common than we can ever even really imagine or fathom when we're feeling a certain type of way, whatever way that might be. We're never alone. And there is so much power and healing in connecting with others authentically about the real things in life because we all experience them, we all go through them. And yeah, connection is necessary as a human being. So I look so forward to continuing to heal, grow, create, and connect with all of you as the years go on. Okay, I think that's it for today. This is the most, I think, off the cuff episode I've ever recorded, and I just can't stop staring at how silly I look in my wearable blanket as I'm recording this right now. So I'm sending you all a lot of love, and I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.